just won the NCAA Division III tennis championship.
Their baseball team is also playing for a chance to go to the College World Series. So, yep. All right, Lucy, Ellen, Diana, Jasmine, Jimena. No, Jimena. Yes.
Miss Dart even thinks I'm awesome. She gave me an awesome keychain saying that I'm awesome.
Right, and if you got a keychain that says it must be true, because I have one that says world's greatest dad.
Yep.
See, Mariana's even laughing about that one. You can be awesome, Faith. It's okay.
Yeah, I am awesome.
Okay. No one's arguing with you. I don't know why you have to keep telling us and throwing it in everybody's face.
Because you took down my sign.
Which sign?
You took down both of them. I put a little picture, and then I put a sticky note.
That said what?
That said, I think I'm your favorite.
Okay, you don't understand what the word favorite means. That's why I had to take it down, because it was false advertising.
Seriously.
Because I don't have.
No one makes you.
What?
You like no one makes you.
I know, but that's okay. I don't have favorites. It would be unfair for me to say that someone was my favorite student. Actually, my favorite students are mostly ones who've gone away. So
you'll be.
You could be my favorite student. Go away and let's find out.
Oh, I can go away?
Yep.
Cool.
You want me to open the door for you, or can you handle it on your own?
No, I already missed too much of school.
Okay. All right.
This is cute. Look at it, it's cute. What's Brian?
He's taking attendance. Give him a minute.
He needs to see what, like, better.
But he's taking attendance.
Okay. Yes, Faith. What can I do for you now? See, I can't see. I see from about here up with you.
Miss Dart gave me a little, what's it called?
Card?
You know what a card is?
Okay. Well, you should thank her for that.
Thank you. Where's mine? And my apple?
Again, if I gave one to you, I would have to what?
Give it to both me and Mariana.
Right? And then all my other students, right? Why not?
You can do it to your first hour class. Who knows? Who's going to tell me?
Okay, there is one thing I have great confidence in with students' Faith, and that is the minute, the second, the instant that they have an opportunity, they will rat a teacher out.
Yes.
They will. The same thing is true with kids. Okay? The first year my house got toilet papered, I knew who did it. It was my basketball team. But they made a mistake. So I'm standing out in the hallway one day like I normally do the morning of homecoming week. You know, I got toilet paper the night before. Here comes one of the sisters of one of my basketball players. Oh, hey, how's it going? You know, da-da-da-da-da. Started talking. She's looking at her phone. Oh, can I see the pictures? Yeah, sure. There the group was in front of my house. They rat each other out too because you're not smart. Yes.
That's so cool. That's awesome.
Why?
That's awesome.
So
Why would they do that to you?
That's awesome.
I don't know. This year my house got toilet papered again because of my son's class. And my son went out on the porch and sat there and watched them while they did it.
Did you at least make him clean it up?
Yeah.
I would have done this.
You know, I don't really mind the toilet paper and stuff. It's when you get into those forks and things that when they fork the ground, you know. It's like,
Hey, at least it ain't anything in your house.
True. There are worse things that could happen.
Eggs is so
Plus, now I have great confidence that now that I don't coach basketball anymore and my son has graduated, I will never get toilet papered again. So
well,
I live too far away for most people to even bother. So
I'll just find out where you live.
You still want that to go down?
go for it. You guys could find out where I live faster than I could tell you, almost probably. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, what is the best thing to do on Memorial Day weekend? Jaslyn, go ahead.
Break an arm. Oh, yes.
You're right. I will not be doing that this year. Why is that a good thing to do on
It was
Memorial?
actually kind of funny because, like, when it happened, they went to the extra stand and was like, "You need a CT scan," because they thought I had a concussion. No, I knew I didn't, but whatever. It was actually kind of funny because my parents got so mad at me and they were yelling at me. I was just like,
Can you tell the story of how you broke it or no?
I decided to go down this hill on roller skates.
Not a good. Are you good on roller skates?
Depends. Not going down hills though.
Okay.
If there was no hill, I would have been fine. But there was a hill.
Yep. Okay. That hills and rolling. I don't want to say vehicles, but rolling objects do not play well together. My sister one time ended up like really rubbing all the skin off of her chin right here because she was on a bike and the chain fell off the bike. And back then, that was your brakes on a bike because if you pedaled backwards, that was how the brakes worked. And she was in Door County going down a hill. And so then she decided that since she couldn't use the brakes, she would use her chin to stop herself. It wasn't the greatest decision on her part.
That's so weird. It's like, you know like how sidewalks, how they're just not even.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. There was a time where I was riding my bike, and I don't know how this happened, but I went flipping over.
Oh yeah.
And just from like a little crack.
Yep.
And I scraped my whole nose and my whole chin, and I was like, oh.
It was a couple of years ago. My son was playing baseball, and for some reason, we got there early for the game, or it got delayed or something for some reason. So my wife and I went for a walk in Kewanee. They have the worst sidewalks in the world.
Oh my God.
I mean, this one chunk of sidewalk will be that much higher than the one right next to it.
No.
So as you're walking, all of a sudden you're like face planting because you hit this. I wouldn't want to be a kid in Kewanee riding around on a bike because it's terrible. Mm-hmm. But they also did it. It also happens because in a lot of towns, you know how they have the street, then that little strip of land, and then the sidewalk?
Mm-hmm.
Well, in Kewanee, they planted trees everywhere. So they plant trees on that little strip, and over time, when the trees grow, they take that sidewalk and then they tell the people in town, well, if you want it fixed, you have to pay for it.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's the crazy part. And the worst part is if someone gets hurt, you're liable.
Exactly.
So you would have to pay to get it repaired, and if you don't and someone gets hurt, like you say, if you're on your bike and you go flying head over heels, which again, a bigger kid on a bigger bike might be able to handle it, but little kids on little bikes, a crack that big, ooh, that's not a good thing.
I was like 8 at that time.
Yeah.
It was not fun.
Not good. Okay, let's talk about some good things to do on Memorial Day weekend. Go ahead, Zoe. Cookout is always a good thing. What else?
High school graduation.
Okay, high school graduations, yeah.
That's where I'm
The
going.
parties, yeah. My son's is this weekend, so yes.
Going fishing.
Going fishing, okay.
Or playing tennis.
Or playing tennis. I get that theme from you, Ethan.
I am not.
I get that theme from you.
Going camping.
Yeah.
I was supposed to go camping, but I have to work instead.
For real.
See, but the only bad part about Memorial Day weekend is it could be it still could be a wide swing of weather. And you could have 80, 90 degree weather, be sunny and beautiful, or you could have 50s and rain. That's the only thing. So when we used to go camping, we used to go later in the year because we wanted to make sure it was nicer. Even then, you're not guaranteed, but
My
better
sister,
chance.
she's bragging right now because she's going camping like tonight,
Mhm.
and she's like, "Oh, all your friends are gonna be up there, and they're gonna see you." I'm like, "That's messed up."
For real.
Now, do you go tent camping or do you have a camper?
We
Or?
have a camper.
Okay, see, we did too. Our idea of roughing it though was we had a black and white TV in the camper. That was our idea of roughing it back then. So
Nice.
Camper?
what?
Camper?
Yeah.
Why don't
We had a
why
little
not
pop-up
tent?
camper. Well, because one year my parents went camping and we used to go up to Door County camping, and it rained like heck that year. Rained like heck. So my mom got us all up at like 5 o'clock in the morning, and we headed to the laundromat to wash everything that we had because it had all gotten soaked. And that was the last year we camped in a tent. The next year my parents bought a pop-up camper.
Don't blame
So-
them.
So what else? Good thing to do on Memorial Day weekend.
I normally go see my grandpa. Well, before my grandpa died, we used to do water balloon fights.
Okay.
So we'll go to his grave and we'll, like, it sounds weird, but we'll, like, chuck water balloons in remembrance of doing it that way.
There's nothing weird about that. Nothing weird about that. You have certain memories of certain people and certain things that they used to do, and honoring that is never weird. So, now I imagine someone driving by seeing two people having a water balloon fight in a cemetery might seem weird to other people, but when you explain it, it's perfectly reasonable. What else is a good thing to do? Christopher? Okay, grow some brats, do some cooking out. Okay, yep.
Speaking of which, is Brat Fest at Festival of Foods this weekend?
It's Brat Fest at Festival of Foods. So you're just selling for Festival Foods. There's no organization that's there. I understand that. Okay, I work for Green Bay East. You don't see me, pushing Green Bay East snowball or something like that, right? So anyway. Okay. Anything else good going on?
Going to an abandoned place.
A what? An abandoned, did you say?
Yeah, exploring there.
So you just go into random abandoned places and look around? Yeah.
That sounds cool.
That's called breaking and entering.
Yeah. Like that
Kinda
sounds
is like
not great.
trespassing.
Yeah, no, not kinda is, it is. So, okay, all right. Please don't tell me about any other criminal activities you're gonna do on Memorial Day weekend. So, okay. Anything else? Anybody go to Celebrate the Pier?
Mm-hmm.
I've never been
that
there.
this weekend too.
Never been there.
It's kind of expensive.
I was
It
once.
is.
It's like $4 to go on one ride.
Mhm.
Yeah,
What?
A ticket is $1. So
And they're
most
$4.
rides are like 4 tickets. So and you also have to pay like $10 to enter, I think.
Just
So
go to
yeah.
BB Checks.
anyways,
Yeah,
and lemonade is like
sure.
$8. It's so stupid.
Okay, but here's the thing, and I gotta vent a little bit. So yesterday was my son's graduation. So I got out of here late, and I was picking up my daughter, and we were gonna go because my wife stayed at school. So I had to pick up dinner for my daughter. So I stopped at Popeyes. Chicken sandwich and 3-piece tenders, 2 combos. $25!
Uh-huh.
$25 at a fast food restaurant for 2 people to eat.
Can I?
Okay, now.
That is ridiculous.
What is no? I went to Max, the mac and cheese place called Max,
Yeah.
with like 5, 6 people, like me and my mom, my stepdad's friend, another person, like 5, 6 people. It was over $100, and we didn't know, and we got the biggest thing. Then it was over $100. We know 5, 6 of us.
Oh my gosh. I'm like,
Over
this
$100
is-
just for the
I
meal.
went to Wendy's the other night, 2 combos, and it was $30.
Well, my nephew said that he and his wife went to Anduzzi's. They had dinner. They did have 1 drink each, and it was $90 for 2 of them to eat at Anduzzi's.
You want to
And
know what?
usually it's expensive.
You want to special fast food
In
restaurant?
general.
Culver's, yeah, but
It's
okay.
good but expensive.
The thing is, I guess,
Gone up too.
what's that?
Culver's prices have gone
Yeah,
up too.
I have no
Good
problem
but
paying
expensive.
$6 for a burger and.
Good
Well-
looking for $6.
Well, that's what I mean. I have no problem with that. But now you're talking about the combo meals starting at like $10 to $12.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, okay, it's still a 90-cent soda tops. I mean, come on. So anyway,
The tacos yesterday for 12.
what's that?
Just like the tacos from yesterday.
Oh, at the food trucks.
Yeah, $12.
3 for $12.
Yeah, I agree.
When I was a kid, there was a restaurant that we used to go to in town. They used to have 3 tacos for $2. You could get fries and a Coke for $4.
Usually, like,
So
Yeah.
on that.
so
Yeah, it's really going to the
well, okay, but why is fast food getting so expensive?
inflation.
I believe
It's a
That is part of
The
it.
food price is going up.
No, because they've got to pay their employees $15 an hour now.
Right.
I mean, again, I understand. I'm an old person, okay? But years ago, fast food restaurants were mainly jobs for teenagers. And you don't pay teenagers $15 an hour in their first job, okay? You would pay them $5, $6 maybe, okay? Christopher?
I work at Max and I get paid more than my full-time employees. Just kind of stuff.
How much do you make? Can I ask?
14 an hour.
$14 an hour.
There's just one full-time employee. Her name's Tara. She has like she's autistic and she gets paid $10 an hour.
What?
It's really messed up. That's
Okay.
why Max makes so much money.
Now this is you make $14 an hour there. The first job I had out of high school was I went to work in a factory making plastic lumber in Luxembourg, NEW Plastics. Take a guess at what I started out making.
$2.
No.
Nine.
What?
9.
$4.75 an hour. Working in a factory.
That's crazy.
I started making $6 at retail.
Right? I mean, that's, you know, so when people are talking about, making $15 an hour working at a Max or that job used to pay $3 an hour. So, and again, I'm not saying prices haven't changed. They have. That was a long time ago when I first started out working in a factory 30-some years ago. I'm glad that prices are changing. But what people don't understand is when they say, well, we need to make these jobs pay more so people can afford more things. Yes, but as soon as you pay people more, that is the biggest part of any business. The biggest part of a school educating you guys is paying the teachers and the staff. So the more they pay us, the more it costs to educate you. That is just a fact of life in any job. In any job, the main cost is the employees. So again, when you say, well, you know what, we're going to make it so that people can have a better life by giving them $15 an hour at a fast food place, okay. But now the cost at that fast food place goes from $5 for a Happy Meal to $10. So again, you're making more money, but if everything costs you more, are you winning in the end?
No.
I don't know. Hello, Alexa. So anyway, okay, I will get off my soapbox, ladies and gentlemen. No matter what, ladies and gentlemen, since you guys have off tomorrow, even though I don't.
What?
I know. I hope you go out and I hope you enjoy your 4-day Memorial Day weekend. Do something fun, do something exciting, enjoy it, because to be honest, ladies and gentlemen, this is it. This is the last push till you're done with school.
It's so scary. We only have like 8 days left.
9.
Then the seniors.
That's if you count today though.
No, next week you have 4 days. The week after you have 5. That's 9. So not counting today, there's 9. At least if you want to do it that way. Anyway, the point is we are finally under 10.
Yeah.
That is a good thing. That is a good thing. Okay. What's that?
I said, wait until next school year starts and be counting down the days.
I think it's 180 some.
Oh, yeah. 200 some days, gotcha.
No, it's like 180 some, I think, that you guys are actually in school.
It feels more like 200, but 100 is more reasonable.
Well, think about this. Your journey started 12 years ago, and you'll only have 1 more left after this year.
Not necessarily. You go to college.
1 more at high school. 1 more that you have to do. After that, yes, it's your choice. So, okay. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk a little bit about redox. We will take a quiz, okay? It's a shorter quiz than normal. It's not 20. It's only 15 points. It's on the main things that we have been talking about, which is oxidation and reduction. So we're going to finish up talking about something called half reactions today. Again, we'll show you how you can always recognize half reactions, and then we will take our quiz and we will be done. We'll probably get done a little bit earlier with you guys because I don't want to get you ahead of my 5th hour class, because this afternoon you have the pep rally. There's a pep rally today. So
all of our classes are going to be
not all of your classes, just your 4th and 5th period get shortened to about 40 minutes, 45 minutes instead of the 71 minutes they normally are. So keep that in mind. Okay? All right. And again, ladies and gentlemen, I went into the grade book this morning and I put in your final exam. What I mean is I put it in as an assignment. Okay? And then what I always do when I put in the final exam is I go through and I give you all a 0. Well, because giving you a 0 lets me look at it and say, okay, who's already passed the class? And if you haven't passed the class, if it drops you down to an F, then I look at it and say, okay, what kind of grade do you need to get on the final to pass the class? And here's the good news. Most of you have already passed the class, okay? And even, again, the final will not make you fail the class, and you're not going to get a 0 on it because you're going to come in and take it. Most of you need to get like a 10%, even if you have a very low grade going, just to get it back up to a passing grade, but you'll be fine. You'll be fine, ladies and gentlemen. We do have a quiz. We do have a unit test, which can change things a little bit. But again, I have great confidence in you, ladies and gentlemen. You are going to be fine. But today is the last day to turn in any missing things. If there's a lab that you haven't done, you get it done, you turn it in today. I will still grade it, and I will still give you credit for it. Kayana, what can I do for you? This is your last unit, yes. Yes.
What?
This is your last
That's
unit.
crazy.
There's only 8 days left, Jaslyn.
What do you want to learn?
8 days left, and 2 of the days are final exams. So in reality, you only have 6 days left. Okay?
6 days left.
No, wait, 7 days left, and then your final exams. Okay? All right, ladies and gentlemen. So let's take a look at something here, ladies and gentlemen. And again, we defined this earlier. Please open your EISN. Please get to slide number 43, ladies and gentlemen, because this is what we're talking about here. Okay? Alexa, are we going to go do that quiz real quick before I forget? Yeah, let's do that. Let's get that out of the way. Okay? Yes.
May I go adopted?
You may, Jaslyn. Okay? You may not. I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know.
Well, I can't make this decision for you, Jaslyn. There are a lot of things I can do for you, but this is not one of the decisions that I can make for you.
Well,
Deep subject, shallow mind, so let's not go there.
did you just want me to get up and walk out? I don't
No,
know.
I do appreciate you asking. I do. It's just my nature to question everything, so.
Do you question your kids like that?
All the time. Where are you going? Who are you going to be with? What are you going to do? What time are you going to be home? And my daughter's 21. So.
Do you question your son like that?
Yeah, but I never get any good answers from him. You okay?
But I mean, we happen to live together, so it's a matter of, are you gonna come for supper? Okay, those kinds of things. But yeah. But I asked him,
I just want to say,
hey, where are you going? You gonna be home for supper?
like sometimes when my mom leaves at night, I'm like, where do you think you're going?
Right. Like, it's 9 o'clock at night. Where the hell are you going?
Where are you? Mm-hmm. And she'll be like, I'm going to start getting snacks. And I'll be like,
She might normally. Hey, where did I go?
It's their math,
Oh, I
honestly.
have to tell my parents where I'm going, so I don't leave the house.
What did I do? Start this conversation of what questions
They
parents
have to
ask
know
before
I'm
the
going
kids
and then I'm
leave?
gonna be
Yeah.
back.
Yeah, because I said that my mom still asks me, and I ask my mom.
Yeah, well.
But we also live together, so.
Yeah. You know what? The questions never end. And the sad part is my daughter is old enough to where she can not tell me or tell me, but still I ask. And she normally tells me because what am I going to do either way?
If you have like 360, like.
Oh, yeah, I do. I stalk her. Stalk her all the time. Stalk my son. Stalk my son, stalk my daughter. But then, you know, they always yell at us. Oh, you stalk me all the time. Then they'll be like, hey, my buddy's at this place. How do you know? Well, it's on Snapchat. Well, quit stalking them. You guys stalk each other as well, so it doesn't matter. Okay, so here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, half reactions. Okay, so what does it sound like? What? Nope, not half-life, although that is a good guess. That is a good guess. Half reaction? Well, it sounds like half of a reaction. Well, what have we been talking about?
Half the time.
Redox reactions, which are part
Reduction.
and part.
Oxidation.
So guess what a half reaction is?
Half of it.
Only one of them. Taking a reaction and breaking it down so we're only seeing one of them. Okay? So a half reaction, ladies and gentlemen, is either the reduction reaction or the oxidation reaction in a redox reaction. So you know how we've been looking at it and saying, okay, this one became more positive, this one became more negative, this one is oxidation, this one is reduction. You can take and you can separate them from the reaction into those half reactions. They can be split from a redox reaction. one thing that has to happen, one thing that we haven't been worried about too much. Electrons move from one substance to another. One loses electron, one gains electrons, correct? Well, the electrons transferred in a redox have to be equal. In other words, if one element is losing one electron, some other element has to be gaining one. If one is losing two, some other element has to be gaining two. If one loses three, some other element has to be gaining three. Okay? So just so you know, the total number of electrons transferred has to be equal. Equal number lost, equal number gained. Okay? So let's take a look at this. This is a redox reaction, right? Okay? Now, how do we know it's redox reaction? What do we look for?
Compounds.
Okay, here's compounds. What else do we look for? We look for the charges. Okay, now please remember, yesterday we told you that there is a type of reaction that is not a redox. Anybody remember what it was? Synthesis, single replacement, decomposition, double replacement. Which one of those was not a redox reaction?
Double replacement.
The double replacement. Good. Why? Because everything started out in a compound, everything ended up in a compound, correct? And remember we told you, how do you recognize which one will not be oxidized or reduced? Which one is not oxidized and reduced in this reaction? Yeah. Why? Because it's in a compound on both sides. So again, that idea that if everything is in a compound, it's not going to be redox. Well, what is this right here? Right, but it's not a compound. What do we call this? A lone element. So when you have these lone elements, ladies and gentlemen, that means there is going to be a redox reaction. Because they're alone on one side, they're in a compound on the other, they have to change charges. They have to, okay? All right, so if we were to take this, ladies and gentlemen, and break this apart, okay? Now, I'm going to add a couple of things here because I should have put them in there. What's the charge of magnesium here? 0. What's the charge of hydrogen here? 0. What's the charge of hydrogen here? Positive 1. What's the charge of this chlorine? Okay, over here, what's the charge of this magnesium? Plus 2. What's the charge of this chlorine here? Negative 1. Okay? So, just so we are clear, ladies and gentlemen, magnesium is going from a 0 to a plus 2. It is becoming more negative or positive? More positive. If you become more positive, you do so by doing what with the electrons? Losing electrons, which means that is oxidation. Now, at the exact same time here, ladies and gentlemen, hydrogen is going from a plus 1 to a 0. So it is becoming more, what? More negative. The way you become more negative is you do what? You gain electrons. And gaining electrons is reduction. One last thing happening here, ladies and gentlemen, and that is this chlorine is going from a negative 1 to a negative 1, which means what's happening? What? Stays the same. So nothing is happening there. So now what we do down here, ladies and gentlemen, is we are going to take out this reaction and break it up into 2 parts. Magnesium is here, so we put it right here. This magnesium is actually a plus 2 over here, right? So I'm going to ignore the chlorine with what it's with, and I'm going to write magnesium plus 2 here, and that comes from right here. That part of it, correct? Now to go from 0 to +2, you need to lose electrons, correct? How many? To go from 0 to +2. And that's what we're showing you here. Okay? So this is losing electrons. Right? Okay? So what do we call that? That is oxidation. So this is what the half reaction would look like, ladies and gentlemen. This is what the half reaction would look like. Okay? You would take something that has 0 charge, you would make it have a +2, and that would mean that it has to lose 2 electrons. This is the 2 electrons. We're actually showing them here, because this is how you go from 0 to +2. Okay? Now, this one down here has to do with this. Oh, wrong color. Let's use this. Here, hydrogen is starting out as a +1, correct? So I write it down here as a +1. Why is this 2 in front?
Is it because it's alone?
Nope. Because technically this isn't alone, is it? It's with that chlorine. But you see the 2 here? I got to bring it down here as well. So this comes from this part right there. Okay? All right? So this comes from this right here. Right? So if I have 2 hydrogens that are +1, becoming hydrogens with 0 charge. And how many hydrogens are here? Still 2. Just we put the 2 here instead of out in front, right? So to go from +1 to 0 means you have to gain how many electrons? 1. But if there are 2 of these hydrogens that are doing this, each one has to gain 1 electron, right? So in the end, ladies and gentlemen, the 2 electrons that are lost here are the 2 electrons that are gained here. Okay? Now, because you are gaining electrons here, this is reduction. Okay? So if you were to look at even a half reaction, ladies and gentlemen, if we were to look at one of these, you could figure out if it is oxidation or reduction by if it is gaining or losing electrons still. Okay? By if it is gaining or losing electrons still. So we can always, in a reaction, when electrons are moving, we can figure out what's going on. Now, what's not in here, in either one of these? That is in here. The chlorine. Why is it not in any one of these? Because it didn't change. We don't care about it. All we're worried about is which one is gaining and which one is losing. That we see right here. So we don't worry about it. Okay? Questions? Okay. Okay. This, ladies and gentlemen, is everything that we have just talked about on how to identify reduction and oxidation. Everything that we have talked about. So oxidation is when you lose electrons. That's what it is. How do we recognize it? Your substance becomes more positive. Now, why does your substance become more positive? Because you have lost electrons. Okay? So your substance becomes more positive. Becoming more positive means going from 0 to a positive charge. Means going from a positive charge to a larger positive charge. Going from a negative charge down to 0. Going from a negative charge down to we would actually say a smaller negative charge, right? This is a bigger negative charge. This is a smaller. That is becoming more positive any way you look at it. Any of these changes, and by the way, does it have to be a 2 here? Could be a +1, +3, +4. 0 to a positive number. A positive number to a bigger positive number. Again, 1 to 2, 1 to 3, 1 to 4, whatever. A negative number to 0. A larger negative number to a smaller negative number. All of these are still signs that this is oxidation. Now, we've added this one, ladies and gentlemen. Electrons are a product in the half reaction. Now, what separates the... Just hang on, we'll go back to it. Slow down. I realize you're typing and things, but let me go back to this for a second. How do we separate reactants and products? You got it, Alexa? Thank you very much. What separates reactants and products? What? Look at this. What separates reactants and products? No. How do we know where the reactant side is here and the product side is? There's one thing that separates it. The arrow. Thank you. The arrow separates these things over here, which are the reactants, from these things over here, which are the products. So we were just talking about oxidation, right? Okay, losing electrons. Well, in these half reactions, ladies and gentlemen, look at where the electrons are here. They're where compared to the arrow? On the product side or after it? Where are the electrons here?
On the other side.
Okay, which is the... What's the other side of the product side? The reactant side. They are before the arrow here. So that is what we are talking about in the next slide, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? The electrons are in the are a product of the half reaction equation. So if the electrons are after the arrow in the half reaction, that has to be oxidation. Has to be. I will let you finish typing before we go on. I'm going to save these last two for just a minute, ladies and gentlemen. So I'll give you another minute and then we'll talk about reduction. I'm going to save the ones at the bottom for the end.
How many questions is the test?
Maybe 10, maybe 12, somewhere in there. Some of them are worth 2 points.
Will that be on our test or quiz today?
This?
Yeah.
Oxidation and reduction will, but I don't go into exactly this. Okay? I do expect you to know this. I do expect you to know the first point. Oxidation is losing electrons, reduction is gaining. The rest of this, no. Okay? So, again, ladies and gentlemen, oxidation or reduction are what compared to each other? But how do they compare? What does that mean? One loses, one gains. They're what of each other? They're opposites. So these are opposites. So that's why this is loses, this is gains. That's why this is becomes more positive, this is becomes more negative. That is why this, it's 0 to positive 2. Here it's positive 2 to 0. Here it's plus 2 to plus 4. Here it's plus 4 to plus 2. They are exact opposites of each other. So here, electrons are a product in the half reaction. Well, what's the opposite of being a product? Nope. Being a reactant. The two sides of the equation, the product side or the reactant side. If you're not on the product side, you have to be on the other side, the reactant side. One of the things we haven't talked about, ladies and gentlemen, is one of the reasons for redox reactions, or one of the things that have come about of redox reactions, ladies and gentlemen, are batteries. Batteries are a redox reaction. They're a reduction and an oxidation reaction. And actually what a battery does is it causes the electrons to move from one area to another, and that creates an electric current that can power an electrical device like your computer, like your phone, like a flashlight. But every battery has a positive side and every battery has a negative side. Okay? Now, the negative side of a battery is called the anode. Okay? Now, again, wait a minute. We talked about something that sounds a lot like anode earlier. What was it? Anybody remember? Wasn't an anode, it was an bless you. What? An an what?
Anide?
Not an anide. Very close. It was an anion. What kind of ions are anions?
Negative.
Negative ones. Just like the negative side of a battery is called the anode.
Which is non-metal.
Which are nonmetals. Good. What was the other kind of ion if it wasn't an anion?
Cation.
A cation, which is why we call it a cathode in a battery, the positive side. Which are metals. So in a battery, there is a positive side and a negative side. What happens if you put the battery the wrong way into some device? It won't work. It won't work. You've got to put it in the right way because you want the electrons to flow a certain direction to get them to work. To get them to work. Well, oxidation always occurs at the anode. Because in oxidation, you are doing what with the electrons? Losing them. And that's why it's the negative side of a battery, because that's where the negative charges build up. Okay? Which means that the other side of a battery, it's positive. Now, when you put a wire between the negative and the positive side of a battery, what will the electrons do? They will flow. They will move from that negative side to the positive. And that can power your phone. That can power your computer. That can turn on a radio that you are with. A Walkman, things like that that you guys have no idea what is anymore. Okay? Okay? But again, we still have batteries in a lot of things, mainly your phone. Okay? So again, ladies and gentlemen, just another way of recognizing reduction and oxidation. Oxidation occurs at the negative side or the anode side of a battery. Reduction occurs at the cathode or the positive side of a battery. Questions, ladies and gentlemen? All right. That is what I've got for you now. That is the last of our stuff on redox. On Tuesday, we're going to start talking about acids and bases. We're going to start talking about acids and bases on Monday. Questions?
So when's your test?
Probably a week from this coming Monday. That week of finals, we'll either probably do it on Monday or on Tuesday. Somewhere in there. We'll see. Okay? So we'll do that. Then we'll take our finals, and then we will move on. Seniors, I will talk to you about what you're going to do because of your senior finals next week. Okay? Questions, ladies and gentlemen? All right. Then here's what we're going to do, ladies and gentlemen. Put all your stuff away except for your periodic tables. Let's go ahead and take our quiz. When you are done with the quiz, you can work on the worksheet that is due today if you have not finished it. And you can get it done, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Google Classroom in the stream, ladies and gentlemen. Here I'm going to post your quiz for you.
I love writing notes. Notes are fun.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. There is your quiz posted. Ooh. I hope I turned off the shuffle beforehand. If not, I'm sorry. I can't remember if I did or didn't. There's your quiz, ladies and gentlemen. So go to it, complete it. When you're done, again, you can work on the worksheet. All right? Go to work, ladies and gentlemen. Go to work, go to work, go to work.